Daily Debrief with Dani Marie, where podcasting, AI, and pop culture meet. From creator news to what's trending today, we're breaking it down the Dani Marie way. Tips, tools, headlines, and industry tea. Weekdays at 12:45 PST. So grab your notebook, coffee, or your tea. It's Daily The Brief with Dani Marie. Yeah!
Before podcasting became my business, my side hustle, my strategy work, I had a whole work history that was quietly training me for it. I didn't know it yet, but now it's become very clear that this is my passion, this is my life's work, and this is what I am meant to do. Speak truth through power, using podcasting to share an important message. And today I want to talk to you about the podcast Parlay, how one mic can turn your skills, your story, your relationships, and lived experiences into something sustainable. So I'm Dani Marie. I am your podcast bestie. I'm here Monday through Friday, 12:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're talking all things podcasting, all things AI, and all things pop culture for my podcasters and content creators. And this was kind of impressed upon my heart to share because I was thinking about, wow, I've worked so hard. I know many of us have, but literally I've always, for the most part, been working multiple jobs simultaneously. And then, as many of you may have heard my story, the pandemic kind of changed everything for me, where I was working 2 full-time jobs, grave shift and a day shift, full-time, right? Was becoming a mom for the first time. We were in a global pandemic. I lost a few of my relatives, including my father, the day after my son turned 1. And my whole life was shaken from the core. And that would put you in a position where you question who you are, your identity, and what you're meant to do. So I was reflecting on that, and it made me think about how all of it just shaped what I'm doing today. And I want to talk more about that because maybe you find yourself at a crossroads. Maybe you have also been in a situation where your world has been shaken to the core and you had to regroup and recenter and find your grounding all over again. So let's dive right into the topic and the podcast parlay, how one mic can turn into multiple moves. So starting with this. This is my work history, y'all. This is my work history, starting off with number 1, the service and the hustle and bustle, working in retail, food, concessions, deliveries. This helped me to build a pace, build people skills, grit, and real-world problem solving. Customer care and admin work. So I was working at call centers like Regions Blue Shield, and my first ever job was the Avalon Cosmetic Surgery Clinic, and I was 18 years old, and I was literally thrusted into a workforce that I had to really be buttoned up for. So working in a cosmetic surgery clinic environment, you're hearing things that are kind of weird and a bit outlandish and probably helping you grapple with your own biases, right? But that was my first job coming out of Job Corps. That helped me build up scripts, systems, follow through, and calm communication. Then human services and healthcare helped me to build up the empathy, documenting my process, advocating for clients and crises. When I was working for the uninsurance claims office or employment security department, for those of you who don't know, there were a lot of people, especially during the pandemic, that would threaten their life because we had claims that were backed up for 16 weeks plus. So that helped me to be able to communicate clearly, have the right pacing, have empathy for people in their situations. Public service programs, working with parks and recreation, workforce systems helped me to build a civic lens, resource navigation, community awareness. And now the podcast parlay, I turned those lived experiences into media, coaching, strategy, and community. And I'm sure many of you can attest to this. But I went to Employment Security Department to look into my history. And so let's just talk about that really quick. So I told you, just like on a granular scale, what the jobs were. But to be clear, my first job was the Avalon Clinic. Then I was working for my godmother as her caretaker, right? Then, and this was all simultaneously. So I had 3 jobs around the same time. So I was working with K&G, I was doing the Avalon Clinic, and then I was working as a caretaker for my godmother. And then another time I was working with another agency, Adecco, and Kelly Services. And then I remember working with vacation marketing groups. So that was timeshares. And at the same time, I would go work for a vacation marketing group and be working with Jack in the Box on the side. Then Popeyes, because we had, shout out to Vanessa, she was getting everybody a job at Popeyes. Then I would go on to work for Hollywood. I think it was not Blockbuster, but Hollywood Entertainment, similar to Blockbuster, while also working for Ann Taylor, a retail store. And fast forward, and that was all like from 2005 till 2008. And then fast forward, Macy's. Dollar Tree I worked at the longest time because you only worked about 20 hours a week, which made a lot of sense because I was also working another job while going to school full time. Then I was working in 2015, I was working for the dialysis center, so DaVita, as a medical billing analyst. And while also working for them, I would clock out and go to my other job and work for Go Philly Cheesesteak, right? Then Pioneer Human Services, AmeriCorps, and then working with the Employment Claims Center, all overlapping. And that was present day. And then, from that point, I've only ever worked for Amazon after that. And I've done other freelancing jobs and 1099 contracts, but that's not the extensive history. My page of employment is like 5 pages long. Some people are very used to working for a job and being there for 10, 15, 20 years. I am more of the cloth. I'm going to work whatever is convenient for me, working multiple jobs to put it all together and not give too much effort to a job because I knew I had different plans, right? But I was always like mill piecing things together. And some people would say that's instability. It's not really giving a full-on commitment. But now you hear people who are quitting jobs because so much of your job takes so much of you. And I'm not here to say one way or the other. I'm just here to say that no matter what your path is, there's a way that you can parlay all of that. There's no one size fits all. And your experiences can be turned around to create the career and the lifestyle that is intended for you, that fits you. So before I called myself a podcaster, coach, or strategist, I was working jobs that taught me how to deal with people, solve problems, communicate under pressure, serve different communities, and keep showing up even when life was lifing. And at the time, some of those jobs just felt like jobs. You clock in, you clock out, you figure it out, and you keep moving. But looking back, I can see the blueprint. Customer service taught me how to listen. Human services taught me how to understand people. Public service taught me systems. Food, retail, gig work, it all taught me speed, adaptability, the hustle. So when I was thrust into podcasting, I wasn't starting from zero. I was bringing all of that with me. The work history was the blueprint, you guys. Your past work experience may be more connected to your creative business than you think. So not only the work history, but also the different degrees and credentials, right? The certifications and all of those things as well. So I started off with getting my accounting certificate of completion in Job Corps, right? That told me like how to manage my own finances, the back end, QuickBooks, being able to calculate the numbers in the books. Not saying that I've always been the best when it comes to finances, but I understand the fundamentals. Fast forward to getting my first degree in furthering my education, my associate's degree in human services, learning counseling, learning empathy, learning all of those technical skills to like really get into the psychology of working with people. And then my bachelor's degree, because I went to Evergreen, you build yourself an interdisciplinary degree and you have all of these things working together for you, to then getting my master's degree in educational leadership. So I didn't come into podcasting with a perfect launch plan, even though I had things kind of mapped out in terms of a business plan. It was still all new territory for me. I was pulled into it, pushed into it, and honestly, I had to learn as I went on. Hosting, right? How to find guests, how to be a great host, how to lean into the conversation, those listening skills, how to like be a parrot and repeat back what you heard and summarize the conversation and then help your audience connect the dots. Structuring those conversations, having a format, right? Learning from customer service, using things like the ABC and 1, 2, 3 method, where you're paraphrasing, you're showing empathy, you're saying, I'm sorry for what you experienced, but here's what I plan to do to help you. Using all of that to also help you when it comes to interviewing, helping build the confidence, letting people know, like, yes, you might have called in griping and complaining, but I'm here to assist you in the best of my ability. Managing the tech, promoting ideas, helping other people find their voice. And then again, that same work history, helping me to understand like things get grimy, right? Things are gritty. They're not glamorous. Some of these jobs were all just for survival. Some were stepping stones. Some were seasons, but each gave me a skill I use now. Retail taught me patience and customer service because people can be very mean. Not that I learned to ever take that on personally. I understood to keep my composure, keep my cool, and many times people would have to apologize after working with me. Food and service taught urgency and people skills, how to still be quick and efficient and get the job done while you're also, like working for Chipotle. You're wrapping up the burrito, you're talking to people, you're bagging their order, and you're still trying to carry on a conversation at the same time. It would always bother me, people who could not do both. They're slow, they're talking to you, and there's a line piling up. So efficiency, that was important for me. I took pride in trying to be efficient, but also strive for excellent customer service and rating very high by doing so. Gig work taught me independence and self-management, having to build from the ground up and do things and put together the systems and the back end stuff and things that take time to build. But if you build it, it helps you be sustainable and operational. Podcasting gave me all of it. It gave me all of it. It helped me to build a platform. That's why I call it the Podcast Parlay, because podcasting is not just about recording episodes. It's about taking what you already know, what you have lived, who you have served and how to communicate and turn that into content, connection, community, and eventually income. So, all of that said, you may, again, be at a crossroads. I can tell you there's at least 8 different ways that you can monetize from podcasting. But first, what you need to do is start the podcast. Then people will start to trust your expertise. They will start to come to you for more information. They'll trust and depend on you. And then they're going to then take the next step with you, right? So your podcast becomes the first entry point, the funnel. In your product ladder, it's the first step. Then after that, there's so many opportunities, speaking engagements, contracts, government contracts, start your business in coaching and consulting, offer your merch, your journals, your private and exclusive content, your Q&A sessions, your audits that you're able to deliver on, building your private community. The possibilities, again, are endless. And sidebar, if you've been thinking about starting a podcast, but you don't know where to begin, I'm hosting my free 5-day podcast launch training. So we're using the 5-piece framework to help you go from idea to launch, especially if you want to start on Substack. So don't just keep saying, I should start my podcast. Come get the structure, sign up for the 5-day podcast launch. And by the way, let me add that QR code so that you can scan the QR code and find us. But if this doesn't work, then you can also go to plantopodcast.com/launch. But you guys, the truth is podcasting is not just another side hustle. It is one of the most formidable ways to build a sustainable career. And I teach my 5-piece framework, which is number 1, you need a plan. You need production, a platform, promotion, and then you can profit from all of it. But the Podcast Parlay Framework, use your past experience. What have you already lived, learned, worked through, or built? Your work history is not wasted. It is your research. It is your experience. It is your expertise. It is what people will pay you for. A, your audience. Who needs what you know? The people listening are not just an audience. They are clues, right? They're going to lead you to the people, the niche audience that was meant to align with what you're doing. R, relationships. Who can you connect with through your show? Podcasting gives you a reason to reach out without feeling random. So that goes for potential listeners and potential guests. And then open it up to the sponsors as well. We're talking parlay, P-A-R-L-A-Y. So the first one was P, past experience, A, audience, R, relationships, L, leverage. How can one episode become multiple assets? Your clips, your posts, your emails, your live topics, your workshops, your offers, your introductions. One conversation should not die in one upload. A, authority. What do people begin trusting you for? Consistency turns your voice into credibility. And yield, for the why. What does the podcast produce? Clients, community, referrals, speaking opportunities, events, products, partnerships. The yield is not always downloads. Sometimes the yield is doors. Now, when I compare podcasting to other side hustles, I have to be honest, podcasting is not the quickest get rich route. So some people are doing deliveries, right? Food deliveries can pay you today. Some people are doing retail, printing, drop shipping. Retail gives you a predictable check. Freelancing can become another quick way to make money fast, and products can be clear and direct. But podcasting does something different. Podcasting, again, builds trust while you sleep. An episode can introduce you to someone months later, so evergreen content. A conversation can turn into a client. A clip can bring someone into your community. A guest can become a collaborator, and that's the parlay. I like to sometimes do this. While I'm live, I like to actually use ChatGPT to answer questions so that it's not just coming from me. Hey, chat, I'm talking to my audience. This is the Daily Debrief with Dani Marie. Say hi.
Hey there, my wonderful listeners. This is the Daily Debrief with Dani Marie. You know we keep it real. So today we're unpacking the good, the messy, and the aha moments, all with that personal touch. So grab your coffee or tea, and let's dive into today's debrief.
So actually today we're talking about the podcast parlay, but can you define parlay for me?
In simple terms, a parlay is when you take one successor asset and leverage it into something bigger. In your case, it's all about how you take your podcasting journey and use it to open up new opportunities, bigger audience, collaborations, or even new business ventures.
Thank you so much. Tell the people bye.
You got it. Folks, thanks for tuning in today. Keep chasing those big ideas, and I'll catch you next time on the Daily Debrief. Until then, take care.
That's the parlay. When I woke up, I said the podcast parlay, and that's what I decided to talk about because I actually am going to be away around the time that I'm typically supposed to be live. So this is a replay or a pre-recording. But the podcast parlay, thinking about my work history and not feeling defeated by what I haven't accomplished because I've accomplished so much already, and how you too can take your history and build this whole new career path. It doesn't have to be polished or refined. One day you're going to get there. But podcasting can be that very thing. It doesn't mean you have to be like me and coach other podcasters. It means that if you've been an educator for 10 plus years, you already have the gift of teaching, the gift of instruction, the gift of communication, and you have the propensity to become a great leader. You can tell people how to move and pivot careers, or how to take what you've done in education and become an educator outside of the classroom. Or if you've been a doctor, or if you've been doing hair for so long, there's just so many different avenues and tracks that you can take from leaving corporate, moving into podcasting. You see people creating podcasts all of the time. And I don't think that it means you shouldn't do it. I think it means people have found a way to make earnest and honest income doing something that feels natural. And you don't need the realm or the scope or the permission of an institution or a corporate office, right? You can actually build a career that takes you to places across the world where you're now speaking to multiple people, and you're able to permeate and transcend through the phone and through television and the screen and the computer. Because now it's not just I'm only able to do this in this one building, but now my work goes beyond that, right? And like I said, there's about 8 ways for you to monetize. And I've done a workshop around that as well. And I've listed them: merch, public speaking, auditing, coaching, consulting, social media is going to pay you. So many different opportunities. And then you can take that and reinvest and build your portfolio and do the other things, right? And it's going to help you have this very long-standing career doing things that gives you your time back, your freedom back, help you to become financially secure, stable, and I interviewed a gentleman a while ago when I first got started in podcasting. He said, I don't have kids right now, but the reason why I love podcasting is because I'm carving out my digital footprint. So even when I'm no longer here, my kids can still go back and listen to me and find me online. Same things for you guys, right? So again, today's reminder is your job history, your life experience, your survival seasons, your service work, your creative work. None of it is random. Podcasting becomes the place where all of it finally has a platform and a microphone. Make sure that if you're interested to sign up for that free course, it's a 5-day training, 1 hour every day. We're walking you through my framework to plan. We're going to record episodes by day 2. We're going to put those episodes up on the platform so that by day 5, you have at least 2 episodes ready to launch. And Substack is a platform that I recommend because it gives you like 6 verticals, your notes, your chat, your lives, and so many other things. You can take your podcast RSS feed and bring it to Substack. You build your email list there. You can set different tiers so people can actually pay for your content, or you can make it free and accessible to everyone. Don Lemon, Joy Reid, Angela Rye, Morgan DeBon, to name a few, are over there. And it's basically what I've been doing and teaching for a little while now. And I really love Substack. So yeah, that is the course. It's not requiring much of you. It's just helping you get in position. Even if you say, this is not something that I can do full time, at least you can be building up your own platform while you're working your 9 to 5. So this is something that you can transition to when maybe you retire, right? You can still be building up a community and it won't require a lot of you. So that's what we're teaching. That is July 20th through July 24th. And I won't be here at 12:45. This is my pre-recording because I'm going to be in Seattle today for the matches. But if you have any questions about anything that I said, feel free to reach out. And again, use that QR code to register. I am Dani Marie, your podcast bestie. Bye.
Daily Debrief with Dani Marie, where podcasting, AI, and pop culture meet. From creator news to what's trending today, we're breaking it down the Dani Marie way. Tips, tools, headlines, and industry tea. Weekdays at 12:45 PST. So grab your notebook, coffee, or your tea. It's Daily Debrief with Dani Marie.